We just bought a brand new Cadillac XT6 SUV, and we offer our first impressions. Then we mourn the death of a beloved station wagon and answer your questions about whether you can trust new safety and powertrain technologies. Next on Talking Cars. Hey, we're back. I'm Keith Barry.
I'm Jake Fisher.
I'm Gabe Shenhar.
And, you know, there's been a lot of news about, I don't know if you've heard about it, the Corvette, the electric F-150. That stuff's been talked about to death. So we're going to talk about a death of a car that is a popular one. We're going to do a little in memoriam segment like at the Oscars for the Golf Alltrack and the Golf SportWagen. Volkswagen confirmed they're done at the end of 2019. It's sad because this is a car that, I mean, I think this announcement wiped out about 20% of our viewer and reader and listener questions. People love this car. So why is it dying?
The death of the wagon. I mean, we've been talking about it for a long time, and it's really tragic. I mean, we're seeing them go away, and this was kind of one of the last holdouts, right? I mean, there was definitely a following for it.
You can get it with a stick shift.
I know. I think you could get it brown too, can't you? I think so. The requirements of all auto journalists. But I mean, the truth is, we all know the answer. They've morphed into SUVs, right? The SUVs are wagons of today, and they're more desirable. They could sell them at a higher price point because they're perceived you're getting more because they're, you get the fender flares, and you get an extra inch of ground clearance on knobby tires. They tried to do that with the Alltrack and tried to, make it a little more rough and tumble, but we're going down this path and there's no coming back.
The Tiguan's basically what killed the Golf Alltrack.
Right.
When most customers come into a VW showroom and see a Tiguan at the same price as an Alltrack,
and similar fuel economy.
And unless you're some real diehard Europhile, then you're going to be drawn to the Tiguan. More room, regular fuel, so much more designed towards the American consumer. Also, a few other things that I want to mention here in this context. Volkswagen is getting ready for the 8th generation Golf anyway. So this car is in its twilight anyway. Another thing is that Volkswagen is in the midst of reshaping its image and trying to portray itself as this future company of the electric car.
But also drive bigger.
Part of it is some obligation because of Dieselgate, and also in these cars, both the Golf Wagon and Alltrack are a little plagued by the whole Dieselgate. And
I think that's a really interesting thing because this car appealed to a bunch of little niches that, when combined together, made a market segment. But when you cut out the diesel niche, that means that you only have this sort of European manual wagon enthusiasts. And for the general population, we loved it. Our review, I have it right here. The road test was excellent. The only thing on there, the predicted owner satisfaction was actually kind of low. So I think maybe people who bought these cars realized maybe this isn't what I actually wanted. So I think
there's probably a little bit of Dieselgate in there too. I thought I was saving the world, and turns out not so much. So there's a bunch of issues there. But look, you're absolutely right. It's the Tiguan. But I guess the bright side is that those small SUVs and all that categories, they've gotten so much better. We have gone in not that many years from like these truck-based trucklets that were bad at virtually everything, right? To vehicles that get good fuel economy, drive nice. There's not that much difference really in the driving experience of some of these small SUVs and like a small wagon.
So let's say I still want a small, one of our camera and producer folk over there, Andrew, was talking with me earlier before the show when we were talking about what this was, what the topics were. And he said, I can't believe they killed this. It was a car I was interested in. Let's help out. Hi, Andrew. Let's help you out. What can his family get for a car that's like this going forward? If he doesn't, and I should say that they're going to make Volkswagen's still going to keep making this till the end of 2019. So you're not out of luck yet. But next year at this time, what's out there aside from the Subaru Crosstrek?
Well, I mean, so first of all, I mean, the difference between here, let's get real. I mean, we talk about this all the time because we classify cars when we put in the ratings. And there's like, what's a wagon, what's a hatchback? You know, and we're talking about, well, you know, get the protractors out and the angle of the rear glass and whatnot. I mean, this was truly a wagon. I mean, this was a lot of room back there. You look at things like the Mazda 3. You look at things like the Subaru. You know, and the XV Crosstrek, you know. I mean, they're more of hatchbacks. They're shorter, there's not as much room in there. I mean, you almost got to go to like an Outback or something to really get kind of that squared off, you know, kind of the family truckster kind of profile.
Those kind of proportions and that same length when the seats are folded.
But truly, I mean, you know, the market's going there and they're getting so much better. I mean, really, you know, you got to look at like a Mazda CX-5. You know, because I mean, really, that's what it's about, you know? I mean, it's about the reason there was appeal for something like this is like, okay, I want the functionality, I want the room, but I want something that's fun to drive, and I want something that's going to drive like a truck. And now, because the small SUVs have gotten there, I mean, you look at the CX-5, actually a friend of mine just bought a CX-5 and, you know, wouldn't dream of getting an SUV. I wanted a car. She had an Altima. She got rid of the Altima and got the CX-5. She's like, wow, this drives way better than the Altima. And I'm like, yeah.
And probably gets close to 30 miles a gallon.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, the wagons, true wagons are dwindling and have been for a while. So what you have left is basically the Outback and the Buick
The Tourex. The Tourex.
And that's the closest thing you're going to get to a European.
Until you get to the luxury segment.
The European wagon, unless you're talking about the Mercedes E-Class for about $80,000.
Well, okay, the people have spoken. They don't want to hear about wagons anymore, so let's stop talking about them. And let's start talking about a new 3-row SUV. And the Cadillac XT6. We bought one. We're about to put it into testing, but beforehand, we put some break-in miles on it first, and all three of us have driven it and written a first impressions, first drive that's actually up at consumerreports.org right now. What do you folks think?
It's a pretty nice car.
Well, what is it first?
It's GM's 3-row luxury SUV, midsize, which you know, Cadillac was late to realize that they had a big gaping hole there. I mean, of course, they have the Escalade, which is a big mammoth
truck-based.
Truck.
Yep.
But Cadillac decided they got tired of seeing Suburbia filled with BMW and Acuras and Audis, and they decided they need an entry there. So it's the basic bones are based on the GMC Acadia, which is not a bad thing.
And the Traverse and the Enclave, right?
Those are a different cut of that same platform. But anyway, the car itself, the Cadillac, is it's quiet. It has a nice powertrain, and the controls are pretty good, finish pretty good. But you know what? There are some glaring omissions there. Only a 2-way lumbar support adjustment for $60,000.
Mr. Lumbar over here.
The rear windows not auto up. There's no excuse for that. I mean, it's nice enough and it looks good, but what does it bring to the table, really?
So. Yeah, I mean, it's a kind of large. I mean, I don't want to be nitpicky about like these little things, but the truth is that there are 3-row SUVs that don't have luxury names that are more impressive when you get into them. Let's say that. I mean, you look at like the Hyundai Palisade, the new Kia Telluride. I mean, these vehicles are not just really nicely finished inside.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Which, you know, Cadillac's nice, but I mean, you could get that with a Kia. You could get that with a Hyundai. But also they're larger. And this is where I think they really missed the boat. I mean, I think you look at Cadillac, I mean, why are people buying Escalades? And why are people buying the Suburbans and these things? They want a lot of room. You know, you're paying for something more. And I honestly think what they really should have done was something really large, because you could do that on a car platform. I mean, we're seeing, you know, Kia and Hyundai, they're really pushing the limits in terms of how much room you could get on a vehicle that drives like a car.
And everything has a price, of course.
Yeah, so, and the price of the Telluride and the Palisade is actually a lot cheaper than this XT6.
Exactly.
And the EPA predicts they have better fuel economy than the XT6. So why, unless you want that Cadillac badge, which, you know, honestly, comparatively, I mean, it's a nice interior. It's a nice minimalist dashboard. The tech is integrated nicely. But, you know, the idea of looking at the cars that you said it's based on and looking at their reliability scores, I know that there are some differences between the Cadillacs and the other GMs, but I mean, these are like 1 out of 5 as far as.
If you're going to pay that premium price,
Yeah.
and you do want that extra room, and I think, it's interesting. Even the German rivals have figured this out, right? I mean, they've now we got the X7, the BMW X7. Now we've got the large 3-row from Audi, from Mercedes-Benz. Even Lexus went and they extended the length of their the Lexus RX. So
Well, they realize where the money is, but I'll say, with all due respect to the Telluride and the Palisade, they don't possess that kind of handling agility that nowadays Cadillac wants to have. And that XT6 is pretty responsive and nice to drive.
But to the people who are buying that vehicle, that's why you're buying a Cadillac, and I don't think they are. I think what they're looking for is that room. I mean, look.
We can second guess them until we're blue in the
We can
face.
look at data. I mean, what is Cadillac doing well with? Escalades. Does that have the driving agility? I mean, they build vehicles like the CT6 or the CTS, and which have phenomenal driving characteristics. I mean, these things are right up there with the best that the German competitors can do. They're not selling them. They're selling the Escalades, which drives like a big truck.
And I think they're trying to translate those qualities from the sedans into a lineup, a family of SUV portfolio.
So the question is, what do people want? I think they want the room of the Escalade. So translate those qualities into something that's based on a car, and I think they're going to be much more successful.
Yeah, and we'll see when we finish our full test of the vehicle. But I mean, I know in that back seat, in the 3rd row, in the 2nd row, my knees are pretty close to the seat in front of me. I mean, it's big, and it doesn't drive like you said. It doesn't drive like as big of a car, but maybe a couple extra inches would set it apart. So so stay tuned. We'll have our full test results.
You're waiting for an XT7.
I'm waiting for XT8. Let's just go go straight.
Big.
Yeah.
Let's go big. Yeah.
Oh yeah. All right. So we're on to your questions. And if you have a question for us, send it to talkingcars@icloud.com. We love video questions because then you don't have to look at us. You can look at yourself, and it's great. So we got a video question from Nicholas in Quebec, and over to you.
Hey, Talking Cars. I've been listening to your podcast since a few years now. My commute is now from maybe 60 kilometers in sometimes very heavy traffic. So I'm looking for a DSG because I'm halfway between save the manual and I want to have an easy commute. So the DSG is, I think, the best transmission for me. And I want also a 4-wheel drive because winter, Montreal, Canada. I'm looking forward to your answers and keep up the good work. Thank you.
So DSG, stuck in traffic. Those two things to me feel a little uncomfortable. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, I'm afraid I'm not a giant fan of the DSGs, and especially in those types of situations. I mean, look, I'm a little weird. I like to have a stick shift stuck in traffic just because, inevitably you kind of get into the other lane, and, there's nothing like a stick shift that's enabled to you would get that response right away. That said, DSGs, they don't do well in that kind of stop and go situation. They wind up getting jerky, especially as they wear. We have a lot of complaints of, what happens is you give it a little bit of gas and you give it a little too much gas, and then all of a sudden it just takes off and it's hard to modulate. The truth is that just a normal automatic is going to wind up, a normal automatic with a torque converter, I mean, the traditional stuff, that's going to work better, or even a CVT in traffic. I mean, they'd work pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think this guy wants a CVT in particular, but as far as dual clutch transmissions, and I mean, they work well in a Ferrari or in a Porsche when you drive them on a track and give you this kind of feel of, it's a manual transmission, but it does the work for me and it does it beautifully. But when you're in an ordinary car, stuck in traffic, dual clutch transmissions don't do a very good job in mimicking a situation of half clutch and modulating the clutch. So you get some jerkiness, some vibration, a feeling of, the car's about to stall. And that's not something that a lot of people appreciate. I mean, maybe and some of our audience probably gonna say, hey, but they sold like so many millions of them, and in other markets, it's more acceptable. If you're in Europe and you grew up on manual transmissions, maybe you're more willing to accept some level of vibration and some of that feel. But Here in our traffic situations, not so much. And so I'd suggest to our friend from Montreal that he looks for a BMW 3 Series 2014, maybe 60, 70,000 kilometers, and with the 8-speed automatic, that 8-speed in BMW from ZF is just beautiful in all situations.
Well, even something like a Mazda 3, you know, I mean, it works really well. It's got a traditional powertrain, and it works really well, and it's very sporty to drive. You know, the last generation going out was a terrific car to drive.
I've been stuck in that car. I've stuck in traffic in that car. Not stuck, been glad to be in that car, but stuck in traffic in Mazda 3s a few times. For it's the 20 minutes to cross the Champlain Bridge kind of situation where you're going a mile and you're just lurch. And I think that Mazda 3 really, it doesn't have the sort of luxury nameplate but
they're working on that.
Yeah, and it's close. It's really close. So
Isn't that the highest selling car in Canada?
Mazdas. Yeah, I think they call them Mazdas up there. Anyway.
Yeah, but if you get a Grand Touring and with all the fixed things, it's not bad.
Not bad.
Yeah. Okay, so good luck, and sorry about your traffic.
As long as it has a 3 in the car.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. All right, next question is from Jeremy, who says, assuming the sensors for driver assistance, driver aids are all functional and unobstructed, do you have any testing data or experience regarding how these systems react when they're exposed to ice or hydroplaning conditions? What about systems like Super Cruise or Autopilot? Have you experienced situations where the car doesn't properly assess the road conditions and responds in a way that is worse than how a driver normally would? Well, actually, I didn't have a story when we first got this question. I have a story about this that happened yesterday. We had this sort of torrential downpour. I was in a car with lane keep assist, and I'm driving, and I see a giant puddle of water, and I think I better lay off the gas. You know, this may be a situation where I could hydroplane, and I kind of tried to steer a little bit around this puddle, and highway speeds. And the lane keep assist took the steering wheel from me. And I couldn't tell if I didn't have steering control because I was hydroplaning or if I didn't have steering control because the car was deciding I had crossed over its lane. So, I just experienced something similar to this question.
These systems are not good as we are.
Yeah.
They are not anywhere near as good as we are. Not as good as in dry conditions, not as good as we are in bad conditions. What we see a lot of times is these systems will recognize it's raining and shut themselves off. And, it's kind of a weird thing. You're driving around this car and like, oh, it's bad conditions, it's snowy. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, all your safety systems are shut off. It's like, well, that's what I want them. That's what I need you. Come on. So, no, absolutely. I mean, they are only as good as their sensors. And the sensors, at least everything in production right now, they don't clean themselves very well, and sometimes you can't see things. So it definitely is a problem. So I mean, when you talk about Super Cruise and Autopilot, generally you probably don't want to be using these systems in really adverse weather conditions because they're going to be less reliable than they normally are.
Kind of like that overconfident driver who might not have experienced that. Yeah.
Well, there are also those situations where you're in adaptive cruise, stop and go traffic, and the processors are just not quick enough to account for someone cutting in front of you or cutting out and creating more space between you. Also, I've experienced that you're in adaptive cruise and forward collision warning comes in. So isn't the adaptive cruise supposed to take care of that?
Right.
It's like the FCW is yelling at the adaptive cruise.
The systems don't talk to each other. Right. But I mean, look, don't interpret it till saying how these systems are no good, don't get them. I mean, the point is, well, in terms of some of the things like, FCW and AEB and all these types of things that help you, they can help you. They often do. Statistically, they will make you a safer driver, but you can't rely on these now.
You still have to know how to drive.
Yep.
And especially in adverse weather conditions.
And I had a similar situation the other day with in that thunderstorm with the BMW 3 Series. I was in adaptive cruise, and all of a sudden I got a chime and a notification. Advanced safety systems are out of commission temporarily.
I kind of wish I had got that because
they
were still, and I'm in a rainstorm hunting for where the button is to turn them off.
Oh,
so that's real safe.
Good stuff.
Exactly. No, I pulled over. I did a safe thing and pulled over. We got another question here from Roger. Walking through parking lots recently, I see many cars with black soot-covered tailpipes, regardless of manufacturer. Roger, I'm glad that there's someone else out there who just looks at cars when they walk through the parking lot. 'Cause I do that. At most, if not all of these cars seem to have direct injection turbo engines. With so much soot at the tailpipe, I would imagine the carbon residue upstream must be huge, leading to engine problems at mid to higher mileage. Have your recent surveys shown any increase in engine problems with this issue? And I mean, I've seen this in forums where people talk about sooty tailpipes. Is this an issue? Is this something? Is this a canary in a direct injection gasoline mine?
Well, I'm not just impressed that he's looking at the cars, but also be able to recognize which ones have direct injection turbos.
Yeah.
You know, so that's something really good. Well, I mean, the truth is that the direct injection turbos, I mean, there is some similarity in terms of diesels, right? I mean, we have a longer history in terms of diesels. I mean, there's a lot of direct injection turbos now, but you know, we do see down the road that some of these engines do have more than their share of problems. I mean, there's more complexity, there's more things going on. Emission treatment does tend to be more complicated. What's really interesting, we were talking about this before, is these fake tailpipes, right? Mm-hmm. There definitely seems to be something there. Now, my assumption was like, we'll just make it look cool, and I mean, sometimes we make fun of them because we look underneath the cars when we check them in, and they're dumping the tailpipe over there, and there's these big chrome pipes or something, but you know, perhaps this is something to do with it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily call it soot, but I mean, my hunch is that it's some oil that's coming through the turbocharger, not maybe a seal in the turbocharger that's not doing its job or is worn out, but not necessarily a sign of burning oil as in a diesel.
And some cars are actually angling the outlet for the exhaust so it doesn't go over the fake tailpipes. So some really interesting trickery.
I've come full circle. I gotta say, I'm going. At first, I'm like, that's ridiculous. Why do we have fake tailpipes? But it's like, one, yes, there's this issue. The other thing is, the other day I was actually, I'm changing the subject completely. I hope that's okay. But I'm walking by and I'm taking something out of the trunk of one of the cars, and my leg's up against the tailpipe, and it gets hot. And I'm like, wow, I should wear one of those fake tailpipes because those would be nice and cool. So, you know, it's a safety issue there too. So,
yeah. So,
I'm answering different questions.
I mean, the answer essentially is, yeah, maybe some. I mean, are these engine problems, are these expensive? Or is there a reason not to buy a car with direct injection?
It all depends on the vehicle, right? So, I mean, what we generally see is certain types of engines have more problems, some less problems, and there's good ones and bad ones.
So some of those early Hyundais, I think, right?
Take a look at our reliability ratings. It's kind of piecemeal. You know, it's all depends on what the vehicle is. I mean, it's kind of like, you know, I mean, when hybrids came out, like hybrids are unreliable and they have problems. Well, some do, some don't. You know, it all depends.
Yeah, depends.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So keep looking at cars in parking lots.
And send in the questions about them too.
Yeah, it's great. Although if there's a person in the car, sometimes they look at you really funny.
It's okay though. Just keep on doing it.
Yeah, exactly. Paul in Baltimore has a question. I'm a new listener to your podcast. Welcome.
Hey.
My wife and I have been driving our Prius for 10 years. Since retirement, we've been taking it on more road trips. The gas mileage is great, but ride comfort and noise not so much. We've been looking for a fuel-efficient upgrade, and the cars that he suggested to us were a Camry hybrid or an Accord hybrid, but I think we might have some other thoughts for him, right?
They're not bad choices.
No.
I mean, this is the time in the podcast I talk about my wife's Prius, I guess, right? So, you know, my wife, you know, had a 2006 Prius forever, and she just upgraded to the 19. And here's the crazy thing. I mean, the new Prius is not bad. I mean, the last couple of generations of the Prius was not the greatest riding and handling experience. So let's put it that way. But the new one is, I mean, all those other vehicles, right? The Camry, I mean, it's based on the platform that's in the newest Prius.
The next generation, yeah.
Right. All those letters and numbers. But it's like, it feels much more solid in terms of ride and handling than they previously had. So I would say consider a new Prius. You know, go against the flow, because I know the sales aren't huge. You know, Prius has gone out of favor, but it is a good choice.
Yeah. It's not a bad choice, but if you want something that's even more comfortable riding and quieter, then Camry wouldn't be a bad choice, and even a Toyota Avalon hybrid.
Well, here's the section of the podcast where I talk about my mother, and she had a Prius. She had Priuses for about 10 years, loved them. Her commute changed, and it's now a long highway commute. And the first thing she did was went out and got an Avalon hybrid. And she is getting actually higher than the fuel economy we got from ours tested about, we got like 45 miles a gallon in this big, comfy car.
Yeah,
and
it's
I
pretty
take
amazing.
it, when I take a road trip, we have an Avalon hybrid in our fleet. It has like 14,000 miles on it, and it's less than a year old.
It's all from you.
It's all from, and people who take road trips. It's a great road trip car. It's comfortable, and it's not as floaty as the Avalon's past. It's actually
with the reputation.
Exactly.
There's actually the reputation and what really it is.
Yeah, it's a little. It's not.
It's not an Audi or something.
No, but it's not fun to drive.
Sure. No, it's really amazing. The hybrid powertrain that's into it, and it's not just Priuses. They're spreading it everywhere. It works so well. Everyone's talking about electric, and everyone's talking about all these different things. It's like, wow, they've got a system that works incredibly well.
Works well. It's durable. And it's always ready to go. No hassle.
And the nice thing about
traffic.
some of these cars, the other nice thing about it is that they, unlike the Prius, the hybrid versions come really well equipped. So you can get the base model of the car, and it comes as equipped as a higher end Prius.
Sure, and the difference in price has come way down. I mean, when they first had Camry hybrid, it was quite a bit more. Now they've really shrunk it.
Yeah. So you got a lot of homework out there. So take some test drives, and we'll be driving and talking about the cars that we've had some time with next week. But I think that's all the time we have today. So thanks for joining us. Any questions? Send them to TalkingCars@iCloud.com. We're getting through the backlog that we have, and we'll talk to you soon.